Welcome into yet another trends and reactions video. This time looking forward to week 16. Sadly, this will be my last video of 2020, but I think I'll do another video at the end of the regular season, forward thinking to 2021. I know that sadly some of you lost out on your dreams of the fantasy championship in week 15. But this week's trends and reaction video will still be applicable to you, as I'm going to think a little bit about week 16, but also some forward 2021 thinking as well. I hope you enjoy. And if you do enjoy these videos, please click that subscribe button, like it if you enjoyed the video, and leave any comments if you have a question about the video or thinking about your fantasy championship. Also, you can send your questions to me on Twitter at NateHenryFF. All right, let's get into it. Chargers versus Raiders. In a game where Mike Williams and Keenan Allen were both limited, a lot of fantasy players expected big things from Austin Eckler, but he didn't quite deliver. I mean, he didn't sink your week, but he's still kind of disappointed. 4 targets, 13 carries, and 62% of the snaps is perfectly fine from a workload perspective. The problem is that Kalen Ballage is annoyingly the goal line back of this team. Eckler was on the field a few times in the green zone, and he got 2 carries inside the 10, but it was Ballage who got those high-value short yardage carries inside the 1. Ballage saw 2 carries from inside the 5, and Herbert snuck the ball in 3 times from inside the 2. None of those carries went to Austin Eckler. Supposedly, Eckler wasn't quite 100% in this game either, but that might explain a little of the goal line usage. Still, I don't think Eckler is anything more than a mid-range RB2 without those high-value goal line carries. He's still usable, but he might disappoint unless he scores a touchdown from outside the 5. Bills versus Broncos. Zach Moss and Devin Singletary's respective outputs are not as good as they appear when you just look at the box score. Singletary's day was completely salvaged by a 51-yard touchdown on Buffalo's last offensive play, and 7 of Zach Moss's 13 carries occurred on Buffalo's second-to-last drive, where he accumulated 55 of his 81 rushing yards. This is a pass-first, pass-heavy offense centered around Josh Allen. Don't be tempted to start a Buffalo running back in your championship game based on these box score numbers. Panthers versus Packers. Man, Aaron Jones is just a running back who does everything well. I wonder if the Packers keep him around in 2021. He's scheduled to be a free agent. I kind of doubt it because I think he's in line to receive a really big payday. Still, I'm interested in rostering him in fantasy wherever he goes. Also, I can't wait to draft DJ Moore again in 2020. He's just so good. I'm ready to get hurt again, I guess. Texans versus Colts. The T.Y. Houston narrative didn't exactly go as planned. Frank Reich clearly saw a matchup he could exploit using Zach Pascal. Pascal saw elevated snaps this week, while T.Y. saw his normal allotment. T.Y. nearly found the end zone on a deep bomb where he was tackled on the 3, and the tackle was kind of weak, so maybe he could have got in the end zone with a little more balance, but still. Then Indy scored on the very next play using Pascal in a route that T.Y. normally runs. However, it wasn't T.Y. running the route because he just caught a 41-yard bomb and he was on the sidelines getting a breather. It's really just some bad luck there. I'm still trusting Hilton next week as he looked good and he still led the team in targets. Touchdown just happened to go to Pascal this week. Lions versus Titans. DeAndre Swift is clearly part of the Lions' long-term plans. Swift has been used effectively as a pass catcher and between the 20s as a change of pace back. This week, he actually saw 4 of 6 green zone carries, and 3 of those carries that occurred within the 10-yard line happened after he fumbled on the goal line, a move that cost the Lions a touchdown. Swift wasn't punished for the fumble, and he was trusted near the goal line again later in the game, including the very next drive. I think Coach Bevel handled this situation really well, and the rookie is certain to be a featured, if not the featured, offensive piece for the remainder of the season and into 2021. Bears versus Vikings. I think Justin Jefferson has passed Adam Thielen in the Vikings pass-catching pecking order. He likely won't be drafted over Adam Thielen in 2021, but I think he should be. Seahawks versus the Washington football team. I'm going to throw out this entire game as noise. Washington's a great defense, so Seattle's struggles likely stem from strong competition. Also, Dwayne Haskins is just not a good quarterback, so the entire Washington offense predictably sucked. The only note is that Haskins seems to like Logan Thomas, so Thomas might be a streamer in your championship game if he's somehow still available. Patriots versus Dolphins. The Dolphins' lead running back has basically become a plug-and-play position in 2020. It really doesn't matter who it is, as long as it's not DeAndre Washington. Salman Ahmed played spectacularly again, but we still haven't seen both Ahmed and Gaskin share a field. The Patriots have been gashed on the ground of late. Cam Akers last week and Ahmed this week, so maybe I shouldn't be going as gaga as I am. Still, my fantasy team would really love it if Gaskins took one more week off. Either way, I think Ahmed's really good, and so is Gaskin. I can't imagine the Dolphins spend high draft capital on a running back with all their 2021 draft picks after the production they got out of an undrafted rookie and a 7th round pick. So I think these are names to remember in 2021. Jaguars and Ravens. I shared on Twitter that it's not surprising that rookie running backs are, they started the year slowly in 2020 because off-season workouts were canceled. Training camps were essentially non-contact and there was no preseason. But now that the season's in full swing, many rookies are starting to dominate. J.K. Dobbins fits that bill. He's rendered Mark Ingram meaningless, and he looks great. His numbers weren't mind-blowing this week because Baltimore was very effective through the air against poor Jaguars defense. Still, I think it's no surprise that the Ravens' offense has been revived since Dobbins emerged. He should be a high draft pick in 2021. Buccaneers versus Falcons. Antonio Brown did a lot in limited opportunities. He saw 7 targets while playing only 47% of the snaps. To me, it still looks like he kind of has it. He scored on a deep throw, and he actually almost scored again where he was tackled at the 1 after making a strong move to get close to the goal line. The problem is that it took 21-point deficit for Brady to start turning it on. I'd be surprised if Brown was a Buccaneer next year, but I think he lands somewhere. Brown's shenanigans have been quiet so far this year, so another team will likely give him a chance in 2021. He ought to go pretty late in fantasy drafts in 2021, so there might be some value there depending on his landing spot. Also, just a quick bonus impression. Calvin Ridley should be drafted like a top 10 wide receiver next year. To me, he looks almost as good as Stephon Diggs at route running. 49ers versus Cowboys. Tony Pollard looked really good in his first chance to lead the Cowboys backfield. His 40-yard touchdown at the end of the game salvaged what probably would have been a mediocre day and turned it into a top 5 week. But still, it happened. And it happened because of the opportunity for it to happen. He was already a really good pass catcher. And now he's seeing 90% of the snaps and 75% of the running back carries. Seeing 9 targets on top of that workload is really just gravy, but it proves the point that he's a top 10 option if Zeke misses week 16 too. Other than that 40-yard touchdown play, he was kind of average, but it should be noted that there was this weirdly long stretch mid-second quarter to mid-fourth quarter where Pollard only touched the ball 3 times. But Dallas went 3 and out, or nearly 3 and out, 5 total plays in that drive, and 3 out of 4 drives during that time period where he was just not used. Hopefully McCarthy learned his lesson, and if the fourth quarter is any indication, he did. So Pollard may be even better next week. Eagles versus Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins is having trouble separating. This week, according to Next Gen Stats, his average separation per route was only 1.8 yards, which was in the bottom 12 of all qualified pass catchers. Hopkins can make some incredible catches in traffic, and Kyler trusts him to make the catches even when he's well covered. So he's still a permanent member of your starting lineup. I'm hoping, though, that we hear that he was fighting a nagging injury all year once the season ends. If not, this separation problem development doesn't bode well for him as a top 5 wide receiver pick in 2021. Still, my eyes tell me he's fighting an injury because he looked much better running routes at the beginning of the year. So I'm still thinking I'm going to draft him high. Jets versus the Rams. In the biggest upset of the year, it was Cam Akers kind of disappointing. But it should be noted that 2 very long runs by Akers were negated by penalties. There was a borderline but technically correct holding call that negated a touchdown. And there was another penalty that canceled a 30 to 40-yard run. These penalties also cost LA the game. So I think Akers' day should have been better. Also, just forward looking to 2021, I seriously hope that the Rams find another option other than Jared Goff. There's just no excuse for only 209 yards against the Jets while throwing an interception and getting sacked 3 times. mean, just imagine Matthew Stafford was playing for LA right now. Don't you think they'd be like 12-2 with that defense? Man, I think Goff is just a big disappointment this year. Chiefs versus Saints. I talked about how Breeze's accuracy in the short passing game did wonders for his running back. And while it didn't benefit Alvin Kamara, you could really see what I was talking about in that pass to Latavius Murray that resulted in a touchdown. Other than that play, though, I thought Breeze looked a little rusty. Also, the Saints have been decimated by injuries to their pass catchers, so that may have also affected Breeze's ability. And he also kind of just looked a little antsy in the pocket at times, probably because like every rib in his entire body was broken before. Still, eventually he settled in, so I think he'll be fine if you need him or Kamara next week. Last one, the Browns versus the Giants. Kareem Hunt was strangely ineffective in this game. I saw him limp off the field at the end of the game, ceding a bunch of garbage time carries to Ernest Johnson. Perhaps that minor injury explains it. Still, he ran plenty of routes and he was used pretty normally and before limping off. I did see the Giants double team him a few times, and that was kind of strange. Personally, I wouldn't test Jarvis Landry to be the one who beats me, but that's what happened. I don't know. I still think Hunt's usable moving forward. All right, thanks for watching, and thanks for playing along in 2020. Look forward to talking to you in 2021.